Am I ready for liftoff? Hold on 1 second. Let me just run home real quickly to make sure that the oven was off. And that the alarm was set. And that the door was locked. I'll be right back. Hello, gentle souls, and welcome to another highly sensitive person reflection. Today we'll be planning and packing for a trip. Are you a spontaneous traveler, or do you plan every detail meticulously? Since I am in fact actually about to go on a trip, and no worries, I won't leave you behind because I will be taking my camera along. But I figured, let's analyze the highly sensitive person brain when it comes to prepping for travel, and figure out how we can make travel less stressful. We'll split the trip between the before travel and the during travel part. Us HSPs are definitely high on the planner scale. There are the obvious things like making sure your passport is in order if you're traveling abroad, and buying your ticket or renting a car, but there's also the little things. For weeks, if not months leading up to the trip, my brain is already thinking about the best kind of clothing to pack. Should I pack light or fashionable? What should I carry on my person to best accommodate for the weather changes throughout the day when I'm on the go in a foreign place? What kind of car insurance should I get? Should I take my long charging cable? Or the short one? And the closer it gets to the date of travel, the more it starts to feel like stress. And that's when I have to work hard to remind myself that this trip is for fun. And the planning can be fun too. If I end up forgetting something, so long as it's not my passport or money, I will be fine. I can always buy new items abroad or make do without. It won't be the end of the world, just a little inconvenient. So plan, but don't stress. You get to enjoy the experience even more if you enjoy the planning part too, because you're already anticipating the trip and thinking about all the potential great things that you will be doing. Of course, all the potential things that could go wrong will insidiously insert themselves into our minds, but let's not dwell on them or we would never even leave the house. Yes, we are born planners, but at a certain point it's good to let go and let the universe run its course. So sit back and enjoy the ride. And if you're the kind of HSP who freaks out on the day of travel, having a checklist might be helpful. So before leaving the house, you can check off the items on your list and feel more secure that you didn't forget anything. And do some research beforehand. If you're anything like me, then you probably know that when you're in the middle of a trip, there will be so much going on that you just won't have the peace of mind to do thorough research. So it helps to do at least some basic research beforehand, like places to visit, lodging, things to heat, places to avoid, and also look out for restrictions like the potability of water. When I went to Peru, I got miserably sick because of my poor planning. I arrived at the hotel late at night with an unquenchable thirst and no bottled water. Out of desperation, I drank from the tap. If I at least had activated charcoal with me like Imodium, then I would have probably recovered a lot sooner. But instead, I needed medical assistance and an IV drip attached to my arm. This was totally avoidable. Read forums, ask around, just inform yourself beforehand so that once you're on your trip, you have one less thing to worry about. Let me know your travel tricks and your worst travel gone wrong story. I once forgot my driver's license when I flew to the US for a road trip. Luckily, I had some family back home who was able to FedEx it to me, so my plans were only set back for a day. One little thing I like to do is to hold on to old clothing items that I don't want to wear anymore, either because they don't fit comfortably anymore, or they have too many holes, or just don't like the way they look on me. I set them aside in a special nook in my closet for my next trip. Then when I'm on my trip, as I go through wearing these items one last time, I leave them behind as I go. This makes my travel bag increasingly lighter and opens up space for new purchases, which I often enjoy on my trips. In fact, I mostly only shop when I'm abroad because Curacao, for all its developments, still has limited assortments. Pay attention and get to know how your body behaves when it's out of its comfort zone. I know, for example, that my digestive system gets out of whack when I travel. To avoid extreme discomfort, I try not to eat too much on the day that I fly out. In fact, I usually end up losing weight on holiday because I don't like to overdo it. There's nothing worse than the feeling of an overstuffed stomach, constipation, or digestion fatigue, or a bladder that's about to burst when you're touring and trying to explore a new culture. Your sleep patterns might also be disrupted. All the unfamiliar sounds and varying levels of light at night can make resting quite a challenge. Earplugs and an eye mask might help. Sometimes even bringing your own pillow can make the difference. I fall asleep quicker when I'm listening to a guided meditation, because that way the background noise or lack thereof is less distracting, and it also drones out my own thoughts. Because on a highly stimulated holiday day, it can be even harder to shut off the mind. So make sure you carve out enough time each night for sleep. And while it might seem completely wasteful to spend your holiday catnapping in the afternoon, if that's what it takes to feel human and not zombie-like, I would definitely do it. And if you're traveling with non-HSPs, perhaps you can encourage the others to keep at it while you take a little break. That way you're not feeling guilty for keeping them from activities. And if you're a high sensation-seeking HSP like myself, then you will venture on the edge of adventure. Paragliding, bungee jumping, roller coasters, ziplining, anything to get your adrenaline pumping a little. But don't forget there is a drawback. So plan extra downtime after a major adventure. One adventure a day is plenty for me. And after that, just laying low at a cafe or hotel room is just fine for me. We tend to think that we need to get the most out of our vacation by jam-packing our day full of activities. But for the HSP, this often results in less enjoyment. Because if we overdo it, we feel miserable in the moment and can't actually absorb anything we're experiencing. So sometimes less is simply better. For some reason, my travel experience doesn't sink in as deeply in the moment as it does weeks or months after the trip. It's in retrospect that I enjoyed the trip most because my memory seems to glamorize the highlights and forget all the struggles, such as stress, fatigue, headaches. I always wish that I could enjoy things better in the moment, but maybe I'll get better at that. But having those fond memories is also a great gift. I've noticed that I can be more in the moment when I'm alone. So perhaps carving out some time to be by yourself during your trip can help if you struggle with that too, even if it's just a 5-minute meditation break. I suspect that it's the overwhelm of all the stimulation that makes it so hard for me to process everything in the moment. So again, less is more. I often hear people complaining that they need a vacation from their vacation when they return from a trip, but they have to go back to work the very next day. If at all possible, leave at least a weekend between your return and when you have to go back to work, just to let the vacation sink in and ease back into your daily routine without feeling overwhelmed and stressed. Alrighty, we are ready for liftoff. I'll be seeing you somewhere under the star-spangled banner. Stick around to find out where. Nosta topa. See you soon. I'll be seeing you somewhere under the star-spangled banner. If I don't get blown away first. Wow, it's windy here. What did I say about location scouting? Will be, we will be, we will be. That I don't want to wear... The plant is the star.